A very close match. Old Kepler data points to the most Earth-like solar system yet. Another fast radio burst shows off its repeating pattern. And 3 rocket launches in 3 countries over 24 hours. The busy weekend for low Earth orbit. It's Tuesday, June 16, 2020. I'm Matt Miller. Welcome to Talkin' Science, Australia's only science and space news podcast, beaming to you 4 days a week.
Across Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts and YouTube, this is Talking Science with Dr. Brad Tucker and Matt Miller.
And it is a very good morning to Dr. Brad Tucker. Happy Tuesday to you, Brad, for another week of Talking Science.
That's right. We're just a few days off. In fact, the solstice, it's amazing to figure out we're astronomically halfway through the year. It's shocking.
It's been a very, very long year.
Yeah, very long. And yeah.
There's not much else to say. I think we all...
There's not much else to say.
I saw a good meme on the weekend that was, let's just put the Christmas tree up and get the year over and done with straight away.
Yeah, look, I think most people would just go for that. Be like, yep, all right, that's it.
And Christmas in July isn't that far-fetched of an idea.
No, it really isn't, especially here, in the Southern Hemisphere, we're getting into our cold weather. Gets you in the right spirits.
It absolutely does. Well, of course, you can find Brad on social media, Facebook, Dr. Brad Tucker, Twitter, at BTucker22. Trek Zone's all over social as well. Just search for Trek Zone. Brad, let us dive into the headlines of the week.
Talking Science headlines.
And first up, Brad, the Solar Parker probe is about to take its 5th trip around the sun.
Yeah, it's been going quite remarkably. It's making its 3rd trip, what we call flyby from Venus. So every time it goes near Venus to actually gain speed so it can get closer to the sun. This one it's doing on its way out so it can slingshot back in. And it's so far turning very successful. And I think we'll see hopefully a big data release later this year of all the cool discoveries it's made recently.
Speaking of data discoveries, the first interstellar parallax with New Horizons has taken place, and this is really fascinating. On the YouTube version of the show, I've got these comparisons of Earth-based observations and New Horizons-based observations. What's happening here, Brad?
So parallax is one of the most accurate ways we can measure distance. This is one of the things I work on all the time. We usually use parallax for measuring, the distances and sizes of things. And the way we often do parallax is you take an image, say in January, and then you wait 6 months and take another image in July. Well, that's because the Earth moves. We know the distance between the Earth and the Sun pretty well, 149,600,000 kilometers. So if you know that distance really well, we can actually use trigonometry. Yes, folks, we do use trigonometry. And then you can measure the distance. So, you could do this experiment at home. Hold your finger out and blink your eye. Well, your finger will move differently to the things in the background. And if you know how far apart your eyes are, you can use trigonometry to figure out how far that star is. Well, this idea was we don't have to wait. We have something just super far away, and we know the distance to it. So if we take an image at the same time, it's like looking through our left eye and looking through our right eye separately to figuring out how far away it is. So a really cool technique that, while it doesn't improve the accuracy of everything, was a great demonstration that, hey, this is actually possible and really cool.
One last headline. We're going to throw this in here because it's some very cool video of a meteorite burning up over Karratha in Western Australia yesterday morning.
Yeah, and I think some people who had alien invasion on their 2020 bingo card thought they were about to check it off, because it's really remarkable footage, as you're seeing. A really bright meteor. And this is even a different meteor. If you notice, it's a little bit slow moving. Usually more meteors are faster, and it's slower, more akin to space junk, but it's not space junk. It's not the color. It's not flaming, breaking apart. This appears to be an Earth skimming meteor. So one that kind of just goes over the top. It doesn't actually fully enter the Earth's atmosphere and keeps going out into space. So there was no sonic boom. There doesn't appear to be any landing at this point. So kind of a remarkable sight that would have really surprised people if you're looking up in the Pilbara the other night.
Talking Science, Stories of the Week.
Brad, let's dive into the stories of the week. The most similar star and planet system or a solar system has been discovered. I believe that we still need to confirm this one, but it's looking very, very promising.
Yeah, and when we say similar, what we're talking about here is both the SAR, the sun, and the planet are very similar to our own, because that's one of the things that we're often looking for. We find lots of planets around other stars, and sometimes they're very similar in size and mass to Earth. But often, as we talked about last week, they orbit red dwarfs or other stars. So the Goldilocks zone, the zone where their water could exist, the heating, the potentially atmosphere is very different. This planetary system seems to have a lot of remarkable similarities to our sun and our Earth, which means that it's a great chance with the combination to think about, habitability and environments and those sorts of things, because there's a lot of emphasis nowadays on not just the planet, but the entire system as well. And so it's kind of a really unique discovery.
Brad and I continue our chat about this planet candidate and its companion star in episode 384. If you're watching us on YouTube, click the card in the top of this video to beam over right now.
You can get social with Trek Zone. Australia's unofficial home of Star Trek is everywhere you are. Just search for Trek Zone.
And Brad, another fast radio burst. It seems that stories of the week happen on Talking Science in threes. This is our second chat about fast radio burst. What's happening?
Yeah, look, fast radio bursts are all the rave, so to speak, nowadays. And that's partially just because, now that we know they're an interesting thing, there's a lot of look and research going into finding them. There appears to be another set that do very distinct repeating. So this one appears to have essentially a cycle of 157 days. So for about 90 days, it's active and going pew, pew, or whatever it sounds like. And then it's quiet for 67 days. And then it repeats that. And things that do these repeats in clear orbits and clear cycles gives very big clues as to what it could be.
Brad and I go in depth on the stories of the week every Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, everywhere we release episodes. If you're watching us in the future, well, you can catch the next chronological episodes from this one and catch those stories of the week. Or if you're on YouTube, click the link in the top of the video here in this card to beam over to continue listening to Brad and I talking about this fast radio burst. And Brad, our final story of the week is about a busy weekend that has just rolled past. SpaceX, Rocket Lab and Japan all launched rockets in 3 separate countries last weekend. A very busy time to be getting up into low Earth orbit.
A very busy 24 hours. And I think kind of the remarkable thing is, I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've had 3 different launches within 24 hours, but definitely 3 different companies launching within 24 hours. All 3 of these were private companies doing their launches, which just goes to show how fast the industry has moved. And I think that the important or the more notable things about the Rocket Lab's launch was this was one that was actually delayed due to coronavirus and was scheduled to launch late April, as we covered about what some of the delays were. But now that things are reopening New Zealand, they were able to redo it. But of course, they had a weather delay on Thursday, so they had to wait.
Always the weather delay.
But it also meant that because of the weather delay, they all happen in the same 24-hour period. So, that's exciting. So there was a little bit of a benefit to this.
Brad and I dive into each of the 3 launches in episode 385 of A Trek Zone Conversation. If you're on YouTube, click the card in the top of the video to beam over right now. Fantastic, Brad. Well, I say it every week, but it is fun to pick apart the stories of the week with you. We're going to do it again with our stories of the week here on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and of course the uncut live show on Saturday. But rest assured, Brad, you just have to stick around here for this one recording. I'm putting it all together and making some really cool Talking Science episodes with your help.
It's a busy time in space, and it's an exciting time in space, so I look forward to what we'll have next Tuesday.